Hello, everybody. Welcome back. YouTube.com/GeekLoud. It's 8 p.m.-ish. I'm kind of close. 10 minutes. Give me a break. Bully, I'm doing all right, buddy. Bully's in the chat. How you doing, mate? But more importantly, Steve on Discord, the co-host. You should probably always introduce the co-host first. Steve, how are you, my friend?
I am very well, here to talk about video games and where they've got me going this week. It's been a very light on week when it comes to video games, but one video game this week has had me delving into some other media, which we'll talk about very soon.
I'm going to throw a guess out there. I'm thinking it's something from the Leisure Suit Larry franchise. I'm probably wrong, but that's my guess.
No, you're definitely wrong. Yep.
Swing and a miss. I'm trying, folks. I'm trying. Nothing like starting the show with the run of show for you at home who are just tuning in and possibly wondering what this farce of a show is. It's a 4-segment beauty. We start at the toes. What we've got, the shoes that we're wearing today are games, interrogation, deliberation. We're going to tighten up the laces and get ready for part 2, which is the pants. And of course, you pull your pants right up when you're reading the news. That's right. The news is second segment. For our top this evening, we'll be wearing a nice little number I like to call the standoff. Steve, what tops do I have to choose from this evening?
Oh, sorry. I'm just like in hysterics here with your clothing.
Hey, mate, I make it up on the fly. Just go with it.
I love it. For the standoff tonight, we have got the game you were most hyped for before the release and then exceeded your expectations once you started playing that bad boy.
Oh, I've got my number one nominee, but I'm going to keep it to myself. You in the YouTube chat, Bully, I'm thinking about you, sir. Sean Games, if you're out there, maybe even some Matt Cypress action. Hey, Matt, thanks for being a member of the channel, sir. I really appreciate that. And then finally, of course, our hat for this evening. We're topping off the outfit with audience interrogation. That's right. People like Matt Cypress, people like Sean Games, people like Bully. Steve, am I forgetting anyone? Aaron, you're out there, of course, buddy. Steve, anyone else? It doesn't matter. That's our outfit for this evening. So let's get to those shoes, shall we? In the form of games interrogation. Woo! First up tonight, Steve, this is your piece. I'm going to hand it straight over to you, mate. What are we looking at, and what console are we looking at it on?
We are looking at the Evil Dead. I'm playing on the Xbox or consoles, so to speak. I've got the Series X, but also on the Series S. I'm not sure about older gen consoles. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. It is cross-gen, cross-platform play as well, so you can play this across from PS5, Xbox, PC, which is quite cool. But now I am a bit of a hypocrite, Troy. I have to point out, last week I did say in our coming soon games that this is a game I will not play because it doesn't have a single-player mode, etc., etc. But it does have kind of a single-player mode, which is kind of what made me download it in the first place.
Okay, they AI bots, maybe?
Yeah, so it does have, like, the online mode you can play. So the crux of the game is a sort of asymmetrical multiplayer where you're 4 survivors versus 1 demon. You can play that in a number of ways, like fully online with, all online survivors and demon, and then you can play with a whole bunch of survivors with an AI-controlled demon, or you can play just full AI companions and demon. The only issue I've got with that single player portion of the game is that if you do play it solely single player and finish a match like I did last night, as enjoyable as it was, you get no experience to upgrade your characters, which I find a little bit silly when it comes to, people wanting to play solo and level up their characters, that you do have to actually take this game online.
So
I can get why they did it, because if you are going to be playing single player, you probably could grind out levels more so than someone that's playing online and take longer. But for me, who's a solo player, I'd love to be able to just jump into this game solo and, upgrade my characters.
So you can't level up your character, so to speak, playing offline, you just said, but can you unlock those achievements on the way? Does that still work, or is it all sort of neutered offline?
I reckon it's all tight. And when I say offline, it's technically the game is still always online. So if for whatever reason the servers are down, you won't be able to play it. You are playing solo against AI, but the game still has to be online to be connected.
Sure. Very Hitman 3 style.
Yeah, so which I don't know why games do that. Just give us a solo experience you can play where you can pause it and do, resume game without actually having to close down the application. Because even this game, when you load back up in quick resume, it'll say that the connection to the server is lost, but it's not really. You just have to quit out of the game and reload the game because for whatever reason the save state doesn't work. So But that's enough of the negative stuff.
Sorry, Steve, if I can just jump in there briefly. Can I get you to flick your phone network back, mate? Because this has been really tough to follow. You've got a lot of digital breakup, and I'm hoping it's not just my ears. I'm hopeful that's represented on the stream as well, mate. But if you just want to flick the other network back on, we'll give that a crack, I reckon.
Wi-Fi is back on. We'll see how that goes.
Perfect. Sorry, back to you for the positives now of Evil Dead.
Hopefully this is, mate, this game, like, I loaded up the which you have to play before you play any of the stuff. So you play through the tutorial. It does a really good job at sort of telling you how to play the multiplayer game, and that's the mood for this. Just the atmosphere in this game is incredible. Like, this world, it's a very good looking game too. Like, you've got just, I think, the one map at different sort of areas and stuff and different times of day, but very good looking game. And the wind, lightning, and the atmosphere and the combat, everything about it's very visceral. And for someone who's never actually watched the Evil Dead movies or been into the franchise, this game got me into this franchise. Whereas so for the rest of this week, all I've been doing is I went and I'm like, which movie should I watch first? And apparently Evil Dead 2 is the first one you should watch if you want more of that sort of movie. So I watched that and really enjoyed it. And then I've gone straight into Ash vs. Evil, which is the Netflix show, which I think came out in 2018 and it's had 3 seasons. And
sorry, Steve, mate. Sorry, I can't hear it all, mate. Can I just get you to disconnect from Discord and reconnect in the hope that cleans up the connection? I'm finding it impossible to follow you at the minute. I'm sorry.
Can do. I've just had a text from Bully as well saying the stream is dropped. So I will do just that. Perfect.
Thank you, my friend. Well, to those of you watching at home, what can I tell you? There's plenty of Let's Installs been going up on the channel. We've got, I managed to hit one a day all last week. So if you're looking for a recommendation for what to install, there's a couple of real gems there you might want to check out. But hopefully, Steve, you're back with us, mate.
Back, how does that sound?
Oh, yeah, let's push forward on that one.
Let's push forward. So I'm not sure what's been heard or whatever that I've said. The fact that this game has got me into watching Evil Dead and the show Ash versus Evil Dead. It's just, this franchise is kind of awesome. I can't believe it's taken me this long to get to it. Someone who loves horror genre and evil within games. I can't believe I've slept on this long.
Steve, sorry, mate. We're still in about the same position. What I'd ask is, do you currently have access? Can you plug your phone into a wall outlet? I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you can plug your phone into charge, we might be in a real good spot here, I reckon.
Oh, I don't know if I can from where.
If you're close to your PlayStation, you could charge it off the front of your PlayStation. Might be a good ticket. Sorry, people. Tech support in real time. It's as fun as it sounds. Well, Steve hopefully finds a supply cable. Maybe his PlayStation 5 charge cable for his DualSense can be bung into the bottom of his phone, hopefully, assuming a USB-C these days, Steve. I've got no idea. Making wild guesses here on Geek Aloud. Yes, what can I say? The FIFA 22 is in the PSN Plus Games of the Month. If you're a FIFA person, that's a freebie. You might want to check it out. From what I hear, it's quite a good version of the old FIFA. Steve, have you been able to plug in, mate? How are we looking? Swing and a miss, I think. Swing and a miss, I'd call it.
Let me try.
Oh, that sounded better. That sounded better.
Anything else? How's that sound now?
Oh, yeah, we've got to push forward for a bit to give the garblage a bit of bufferage, I think.
Try that.
Oh, let's go with it, mate.
For now.
We're trying, people. We're peddling real hard.
Well, I don't know how good that is. I mean, you can probably move on to the next game if you like. At least you're talking about it and not me.
Yeah, maybe I'll jump on to the next one. Steve, maybe try a full phone restart while I yammer on about Game 2. My apologies, everyone. Maybe we'll get another summary at some point on the Evil Dead. Okay, Game 2 for this evening is Sifu. And the real reason we're showing Sifu today, what you're about to see is a compilation of of 3 of the bosses. So if you're spoiler sensitive for the back half of Sifu, I would say don't look at the footage because you're about to see the 3 boss battles. I'll note, of course, this is me playing in easy mode, about 2 weeks ago, I believe, they updated Sifu. I'm blanking on the version number. I want to say it was 1.3 or 1.003, I believe. Anyway, they've added easy mode to it. And what you're watching here is me die several times to bosses in easy mode. But I'll note, in one sitting, I think it took me just under 3 hours. I think it was about 2 hours 40. I was able to start a game of Sifu on easy and then play it through from beginning to end. I died a few times, obviously, but you can do it just under 3 hours on easy mode. I was able to plow my way through Sifu, and I got to say, all the grit, all the hard feel of it, the smacks against the counter, the fantastic visual effects, the great sound effects, all of it almost gets thrown out the window entirely on easy mode. I've got to say, if you ever needed an argument against people saying that FromSoft games need an easy mode, I would point to version 1.003 of Sifu's easy mode and say, this is why you should never make your game easier. It just takes all the teeth out of it entirely. Steve, you're back with me. Did you hear my complaint?
I kind of heard the end of it. I'm hoping you can hear me now properly without any disconnect problems. How's that sound?
Oh, you don't want to hear it, mate. It sounds about the same. I've got a fair bit. I've got a fair bit of digital garbage going on. A lot of compression.
Oh, don't know.
That's sounding better. That's sounding better. Maybe just give us slower talking.
Okay, slower. I'll talk really slow. So you're saying with Sifu that the difficulty lowering it lowered the impact of the actual game itself?
Yeah, that's right, mate. Sorry, it just sounds ridiculous. Yes, it's the challenge of getting good at Sifu that makes killing that first boss really rewarding when you finally do it. Like for me, I think, correct me, Steve, please, but I think I was struggling on that first boss for about a week. I remember I SMS'd you quite emphatically when I finally did beat him. I think at the time you were about 3 or 4 bosses in. You almost finished it in the time it took me to get the first boss down. But that huge sense of reward that was there with Sifu in its original state is totally removed when you go to easy mode. There's just no sense of accomplishment. It's down to, a half notch above button mashing at that point. I got to say, it's a real disappointment. And if you want to play Sifu, I say leave that easy mode alone. It takes all the fun out of the game.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm glad. I don't think I was ever going to put it down to easy because I finished the game on hard and I didn't want to ruin that for me anyway.
Absolutely.
But, I'm sure there's some people out there that were finding it very hard and just wanted to enjoy the art style and the combat and stuff. For those people, that the easy mode will probably do that. I'm not sure. Where are you? Are you going to try and finish the game on the easy mode, or are you going to drop it back to normal?
I did finish it through. Yeah. Putting it down to easy, I was able to finish the game in under 3 hours, Steve, from start to finish. And know how well I play, mate. That game was easy mode.
Gotcha. Did trophies pop on that difficulty mode or not?
Yes, I got many a trophy from Sifu putting it on easy mode. If you want a quick, I can't even remember the count now, maybe 7 bronze and is it a gold or a silver you get for 5? No, I'm pretty sure it's a gold for getting the end boss. If you want about 5 bronzes and a gold in just under 3 hours, Sifu on easy mode. But I got to say, part of the art style, Steve, only shines through when you're in an environment enough. When you see an environment enough times, that's when it really sinks in. You blast through Sifu so quick on easy mode, you don't even appreciate the art style. Like, the art is enjoyed when you're punished up against it and it's rubbing your nose in it for hours at a time. That's when it shines. When you just breeze through it so quickly, you don't savor the flavor, if you know what I'm saying, of each biome. It's all a bit for naught.
Oh, that's a shame as well, because I mean the game's so good, and I did get to experience it to its full being playing on that initial difficulty. And it's like, I'm glad you've kind of got to see the end of it and stuff in terms of story stuff, but it does feel like it does lose a bit if you are doing that so easily, because part of the enjoyment of finishing that game is the fact that you have overcome such odds to actually do it in the first place.
Yeah, honestly, mate, I feel like I just flicked through a book, didn't even read the pages, just flicked through, verified all the page numbers were there, and then shut it. And I've done that one. No sense of accomplishment. For anybody out there, don't do it. It's not worth it. Play it on normal, I believe, is the default difficulty. Play it right there. They nailed it the first time around, and they should never buckle to people asking for an easy mode. Exhibit A, Sifu.
I love it. Now, I'm just going to have to ask, how is my audio coming through now?
Your audio is now mint, Steve. Whatever you've done, lock it in and do that every single week. It's perfect.
Beautiful. Well, I've just turned absolutely every other device off in my house, and I've just running my phone right now, so I'm hoping that's what's doing the job.
You've nailed it, mate. That's perfect.
I can go back to Evil Dead if you like, and talk a little bit more about it from what I was saying before. Or if you want, or we can just move on.
No, let's, give me the 10 peso version. We're back on Evil Dead. Footage over to Steve for his non-digitally audio compressed thoughts. Go, Steve.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what came through before, but in terms of the single-player missions you do get some kind of whatever campaign that it's like 5 missions at the moment. I think they'll expand to 6 soon with some DLC, but you get some single-player focused stuff where you are just going in there as Ash of the Evil Dead, and they give you sort of some story beats and stuff you got to follow, which is kind of what got me into sort of wanting to see the show or the movies in the first place. And it does provide a really good challenge as well. When I say good challenge, this thing's hard. There's no save checkpoints. If you die with one of these missions, you are back to the start. There's a part where I got right to the end, was fighting the last boss, got killed, thought, there's going to be a checkpoint just before this boss. Nope, right back to the start. So,
that does not sound like a game for me.
Yeah, so I went back and did it, and it was fine because I sort of stocked up on ammo and stuff, and it sort of led to the whole horror aspect of stuff. And this game has given me some fair jump scares and stuff. I've been running around and these deadites will appear out of nowhere and scare the crap out of me, and that deadite is sort of the Evil Dead version of a zombie. It's quite violent. The gunplay is good. Like you sort of drop into these worlds, especially in the multiplayer stuff. And you got different tiered weapons, kind of like your Fortnite, where it's grey, green, blue, purple, yellow for legendary weapons and stuff. But they do make a big difference. You pick up a legendary weapon, that thing bloody is insane. Like you pick up a legendary shotgun or a chainsaw, and that thing absolutely wrecks. So that's what you kind of do. You're kind of scrounging and try and find some better weapons to fight those bosses, and it's really satisfying kind of gameplay loop.
Can I ask, mate, what have they got in with respect to like in-game goodies? Is there like people who ran with the pre-order bonuses always have gold weapons and it's an unfair advantage? Is there an in-game store? Can you grind out weekly credits? What can you get in the upgrade path? What have we got that side of things?
Yeah, so each character, so there's different characters from the different movies or TV shows, like different ages and different. Like you've got some medics, you've got you ones that are good at range combat, ones that are good at melee combat, and they're all from the show. So there's like different versions of Ash throughout that, but there's different female characters. There's a female character from the TV show that's in there. There's one of my favorite characters from the TV show at the moment that's not in there. I wish bring Pablo into this game. That's all I need. That's all I need to say. If you start watching Ash versus Evil, Pablo needs to be in this game. He's one of the best characters I've ever seen in a game, in a movie or TV show. He's awesome. But they all got their own branching paths and special abilities you can unlock. You get one point to unlock of each character from the start of the game, but obviously, as I said earlier, if it managed to come through, you do need to actually play this online multiplayer with people to actually upgrade your characters to get those abilities. So unfortunately, playing solo, as fun as it is, you will need to jump online to actually get those things.
Sorry, Steve, I'll jump in there, mate. I'll jump in there. We've just had a degradation, that's not a word, degradation in your audio quality, mate, over the past couple of minutes. Is it possible someone in your house has just opened YouTube and started browsing? Because that's kind of what it sounds like to me.
I really doubt it. I think the wife might be watching something through the internet in the other room.
You've come good, mate. You've come good. Back to the Evil Dead. Go.
Mate, I reckon it's just the Evil Dead. Every time we start thinking about Evil Dead, something evil happens and my audio goes bad. So I'm just going to stop speaking about Evil Dead. Just say it's worth your time. If you like asymmetrical multiplayer, play this game. Graphically, it's good. It doesn't have motion blur toggle, which is shit because it's really strong. The tutorial is good. Swords, axes, chainsaws, shotguns, pistols, rifles, crossbows. You can use them all. You can use matches to like lights, and you can be possessed by a demon. Let's move on.
Let's move on. I caught that bit. All right, game 3 this evening is me playing more Rocket League. Now, everyone watch real closely here. The opening seconds of the match. 6 seconds into the match, and I scored. And the game only got better from there, believe it or not. We come through with a victory. Once again, this is really just my weekly point. You should be playing Rocket League, and, you should do it real quick because it's really good, and I really love it a lot.
Troy, I'm just going to jump in quickly. I've just got a text from Bully. He reckons it is coming through fine on the screen.
Oh, perfect. It's just in my ears then. No worries. Thank you, Bully, mate. We've got like some sort of weird third point tech checker in the stream, and I appreciate your efforts, Bully. Top-notch work, my friend. Now, how are you, Bully, at Rocket League, and when are you playing again with us? All right, next up is, of course, Game 4. Speaking of me owning people, now, Steve, here it is. This is one of my Gambit matches from this week. Oh, I am a level and a half, I tell you. 1.5 levels from prestiging in this season, and I've got precisely 7 days left to do it. I have 7 days to get 1.5 levels, which is, I think, about 6 matches of Gambit at losses and 4 matches if I can scrape together 4 wins. So I'm right there,
Wow.
but I love Gambit. I heard some really sad news. Aaron was streaming with me recently in Destiny 2, and apparently this is one of the most hated game modes in Destiny, and that baffles me. I don't understand why people don't like it. Check out the gameplay here. We were well behind, I'll note. And then we just come back through, and right at the end, I jump in the portal, shoot 2 of their blokes, reset their primeval, and then we come back for the victory. It's an absolute brilliant game mode. If you've ever played poker and you've had the thrill of playing, like, do you play poker, Steve? This is going to be a long analogy. Get your drinks ready. But have you played card poker, Steve?
Have played poker, haven't played it in a long time.
Riddle me this, Batman. Now, I just made this up, believe it or not, as I was playing. This is the way I play poker, and if you've ever seen this stream, you're never going to play poker with me. But here's how I play. For the first 55 minutes, I play with a really bad strategy. I hold on 12, which you're never going to win at. My aim is not to win. But for the first 55 minutes, I cop it in the teeth. And then the last 5 minutes, Steve, I turn it to an 18 hold. And then you can turn around and win it in the last 5 minutes. And it's exactly how this Gambit match went. You take it in the teeth for the first 95%, and then the last 5%, you just turn your theory around and you come through for the biscuits, and it's quite the thrill. If you've ever played poker like that, go play Gambit, because it's the exact same thing. Gosh, it's a good mode. Woo! Now, speaking of good modes, this one came out of nowhere, Steve. You'd be forgiven for not even seeing it on the rundown because it came in very last minute. But what you're watching here on the stream, folks, is not me, because my camera kind of half worked and then it fell apart. Stand by, everyone. Fighting with the stream. Steve, say something humorous, please.
I was going to say, how good's technology, Troy?
Oh, technology's great, especially when the camera finally comes back and it's an ECU of my crotch. That's just what everyone needs to see. All right. Now, what I was trying to say was Apex Legends Mobile came out today. To be specific, it was 10 a.m. this morning it launched in Australia, and I've managed to play an entire one single match after the tutorial, and that was at 7 o'clock tonight. Steve, guess what time that match finished?
Just before the stream, Troy?
It went to 7:30. That was a half-hour match in Apex Legends. I didn't know matches could go that long in Apex Legends, but wrap your noodle around this one, Steve. For the first time ever, I won a round of Apex Legends. I've played Apex Legends on PS4, Xbox One, PS5, Xbox Series X, and now mobile. The fifth console I've been playing it on, mobile. It's the first time I've ever actually won a round of Apex Legends and seen that, final screen. It was a sight to behold. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you ever played Apex Legends and didn't enjoy it, try it on mobile. It's actually a pretty good version of the game. They do a really nice auto looting system, so you just sort of run near a box and it just grabs you the best bits, which is really handy because then you don't have to read anything. And guess what I love not doing? Reading anything. It's all about gameplay. So it's a heck of a lot of fun. And the other thing to note here is at the start, this is playing on like the default graphics level, and then 3 minutes into the clip, I cut it and it goes to the higher graphics mode, which I finished playing on, which looks a lot closer to probably an Xbox One version of Apex Legends. It certainly doesn't have that mobile look to it, which is quite predominant here in the early footage. I don't know, Steve, if the stream's caught up yet, and you can see the low level of fidelity on display.
Well, given the fact that I've turned everything off, I no longer have up on the TV. I've now just put us on my phone on YouTube, and I'm hoping that doesn't ruin my audio at the same time. But I can see it, and from what I'm looking at, it does look quite impressive for a mobile version of a console game.
Well, then, it's possible, and I can't tell from back here. I need new glasses, but it's possible it's flipped over now. I don't know if we've been yammering for 3 minutes. Anyway, fantastic game on mobile. They've got a battle pass, which is unfortunately independent of the console battle pass. I would think, for my money, I'd buy the battle pass in one spot on Apex Legends, and it would be unlocked on all platforms, I would have thought, for the duration of the battle pass. Not the case. Apex Legends Mobile is running its unique own version of the battle pass, which, make of that what you will. But as I said, walk-up victory in the first round. I was blown away by it. And not only that, after the round, one of the guys I was playing with sent me an in-game item. Like, he gifted me a frame for my avatar. I'll take it. It was a freebie, but I didn't even know you could gift items to players in Apex Legends. Steve, does that sound new to you?
It does sound new. That being said, though, I did say I've gone off Apex Legends and have no idea sort of in terms of its gameplay and stuff, so it could well
Very
be
true.
there, but yeah, I don't know. Either way, it's good for you.
Yeah, I encourage you to check it out, if nothing else, for the spectacle. Obviously, you can see here terrible aim on display. Oh, and what I wanted to show everyone but didn't quite have time to organise was, Steve, you'll appreciate this. For me, and I didn't turn it on, but I was very tempted, they have an auto-fire mode.
Oh, I've used that before in some other games on mobile, which is quite handy, but I'm not sure how it goes in this.
Yeah, no, I didn't use it, but it seems to me to be totally opposite the point of playing a game. At that point, I would feel like the game was playing itself, and I'm not really sure what I'd be there to do. It would be odd.
The only time you want that, Troy, is in a platform game. If that's playing a platform game for you, then I dare say take up that option.
The auto-platforming button, that is something I should invest in. But, sorry, the one excuse I'll make for it right now is, note, it wasn't running this stuttery on my phone. This is my phone. It was playing flawlessly on my phone. No, it wasn't 60 frames a second. It was over 30, but, take your pick anywhere between 30 and 60. But the way I capture this footage is I cast my mobile phone screen to my Xbox Series X, and then I'm capturing the output of my Xbox Series X, which is like the windowed version of a mobile phone. If that explains the really sort of choppy, steppy nature of the footage you're seeing, that's why. But fantastic game, just came out today. I think it was 2.7 gigs of data for the min chips, and then I think there was an additional 87 megs available for, I think there was and it was in 3 separate packages. It was like audio effects, there was something specific in visual effects. I can't remember the name of it though, but there's a few extra packages if you want to go over that 2.7 gig. But if you're on a tight mobile plan, I would install this on Wi-Fi. Honestly, it's quite the consumption, but an enjoyable game. If you've ever played Apex Legends, definitely check it out. And you can link, make sure you sign in with your EA account. You've got, I think, Facebook and Google by default, and then you can drill in. They give you like 5 other options, but if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's the EA account sign in, and if you do that, it'll acknowledge your console progress and it awards you a few little things in game. So definitely worth doing. Link those 2 accounts if you played elsewhere. As I said, the battle pass doesn't carry over, which is a real shame, but a very, very strong sort of first crack as it just launched today from Apex Legends. So tip of the cap to, who is it? Respawn, I want to say? Respawn, the developers, are they not?
Respawn, yeah.
Respawn. Tip of the cap to Respawn. That is a fantastic launch day you guys have had. Absolutely brilliant. Any games out there, I highly encourage you to check it out. Keep in mind the 2.7 gig. Don't install it off your 4G, 5G if you're on a limited cap. That'd really suck. But definitely worth checking out. Steve, no obligation, sir, but I'd love it if you could check it out and then report back to us on a future episode of G.E.A. and give us your 2 cents. And the really
I'd actually start downloading it right now if my phone wasn't trying to do 400 things at once and get rid of my audio. So as soon as we finish tonight, trust me, I'll download it.
Very good, mate. And if I'm not mistaken, Bully in the chat is a bit of an Apex Legends player. I hope, Bully, that you're jumping onto the Apex Legends Android. Oh, and here's the other thing I really hope, Steve. I hope it doesn't turn out that everyone champions on their first Apex Legend game. Like, that would be really embarrassing if it turns out it's like a designed experience that every time you play, the first round, everyone wins. That'd be really unfortunate. All my glory would be.
It would also be very it'd be also very good game design to get people hooked on the game.
Well, yes, indeed. It was very appealing. Anyway, that's it for Apex Legends. And now, Steve, I'll throw it over to you for the weekly roundup of the Halo TV show available on Paramount+. Quick reminder, if you haven't redeemed it yet, if you're an Xbox Live Gold member, it's through Xbox Game Pass. If you're a Game Pass member, you get a free 30-day trial of Paramount+, but that's about to expire on the I think it's later this week. The 22nd or 23rd of this month, I think, is like the last date you can redeem your 30 days of Paramount+. Now would be the time to redeem it. You can watch, 8 episodes of Halo and catch the next 4. Steve, over to you.
Yeah, no, you can watch 7 episodes because you don't need to watch last week's episode at all. And I'm still going to stick to that. So just don't watch last week's episode. But this week's episode is a kind of return to form for the Halo TV show. It goes back to our characters that this show is actually based off. So that's a good start. We have Mr. Master Cheeks himself. That's not I'm not mispronouncing Master Chief, Master Cheeks, because he likes to get that the old derriere out in this TV show. And this week, Troy.
Sorry, was that Master Cheeks?
Master Cheeks.
Very good.
We get to see Master Cheeks in all his gloriousness this week, Troy. What's one thing you thought you would never see Master Chief do in live action or the video game series? Just pick one.
There's no chance he would ever pick up a child from primary school.
You're very close. You're very close, Troy. But the correct answer was you never thought Master Chief would have sex.
Oh, God, no. No, I would. Please tell me they didn't do that.
No, he's probably more likely to pick a child up from primary school than have sex with a female.
Now, wait, hold up. Now, I know you are far more Halo lore-bound than I've ever been, so before I put my foot in my mouth, I'm going to ask you straight up, Steve, in any of the games you've ever played or if you've ever read any of the extended novels, etc., has Master Chief ever performed coitus before?
I don't believe so, Troy. So this is a first for Master Chief. I believe he's no longer...
Okay, well... It sounds like the show's hit an all-new low.
No, I wouldn't say that. Like, the connection he has with the character in this game, I think, is setting up. I think what we're seeing is the setup of Master Chief becoming the Master Chief we're used to. I think everyone's sort of getting up in arms that we've never seen Master Chief show this much emotion, yada, yada, yada. He's ripped out his chip. But I think by the end of this episode, you kind of start to see where it's going. And I think there's a really cool fight scene where he is fighting the other Spartans. He's taking his chip out. And obviously, Halsey is taking control of 2 of the other Spartans. And he's literally going toe-to-toe with these guys. They've got their armor on. He doesn't. And it's just a brutal fight scene. It's really well done, really well choreographed. And really sort of, you get to see sort of Master Chief's power and the fact that he can take it on with these guys even without his suit on.
Sorry, he was interrupted mid-coitus and that's why he doesn't have his armor on for the fight scene?
Yeah, he is stark naked. No, he's got some suit on. There's some story stuff that happens and they're trying to escape the area. Halsey's been sent off on her own as well. She's also trying to escape and do her own thing with the Spartans and with Cortana, but Cortana she's now siding with Master Chief as opposed to Halsey, and she's sort of instead of knocking him out. Like,
please tell me it's not Cortana. Who is he? Who is he in the act with?
No, he's definitely not banging Cortana. They haven't gone that far. No, it's the other female.
Oh my God, though. Now. Imagine if he was with Cortana and somebody just walked in and interrupted him. Now, that could actually be a hilarious scene.
Mate, it would be hilarious. It is also equally as awkward when he is getting down to business because Cortana is in the corner watching them, but she's taking in the whole human side, and she's sort of becoming more human and at one with Master Chief while watching them have the coitus. So it's a little bit strange.
I am so glad I bounced off this series before this atrocity of an attempt at a ratings grab. This is something directly from the 80s. This is a screenwriter from the 80s. I've got it. I know what'll bring the people back. A good sex scene. Let's write one in. No, it's unnecessary. And I'm
like, if you ever thought taking the helmet off was egregious, now you're taking the whole everything off.
He took the helmet off.
Took the helmet off to use the helmet. So many jokes to be had. But no, I actually didn't mind this episode. I think by the end of it, I think we are finally starting to see where Master Chief is separating himself from Halsey. He's going to become he's going to go back to being himself, essentially, because he can't trust anyone. The person he's had coitus with semi-betrays him, not completely sure of what her motivations are, but if it is the case where he's been betrayed by her, then I could see him sort of going back to the stoic, Master Chief that we all know and love. And, even next episode or even the season 2, I think we finally start to see, hopefully, Reach gets glassed and then all of a sudden we're on the Halo ring and we're in Halo proper. That's all I can really hope for because...
Sorry, mate, there was a bit of breakup. Whose ring?
Yeah, her ring. I mean, the Halo ring. Sorry, the Halo ring.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we should probably move on before we get a little X-rated with this part of the show.
Yeah, it works for me.
I'll keep watching this show. I'm enjoying it. As apart from episode 7, strike that from existence. But the show I'll continue to watch. And I'm hoping episode 9 next week I've got better reports.
Well, if one sex scene wasn't enough, next week you're going to get 2. So look out. Be on the ready for it. All right, moving on from the embarrassingly poor Halo TV show. Once again, Steve, I'm still paying off the squad car from the time I wrecked it, so no overtime for me. But you, sir, I understand, are still in the good graces of the commissioner and have overtime. So what have you been doing with your overtime, sir?
Just a little bit of overtime. Division 2, I heard from your stream during the Destiny stream the other day, which I wasn't able to make. The Division 2 had the update, so I reinstalled Division 2 and I've been jumping into that, which has been fun.
Yes.
As always, such a great third-person action game. Me and Bully used to play, I think it was Division 1 back in the day, multiplayer, and had lots of fun with it. You and I have played Division 2 and obviously finished
we finished the Warlords.
We finished Warlords on...
Or should I say, you finished Warlords and I stood in the background dying a fair bit.
I mean, I didn't want to say it, but you've said it now, so yeah.
It's all available on the channel. You can go back and watch Steve carrying me through the Warlords of New York. Sorry, Steve. Keep going, mate.
That game's awesome. I just keep playing it. It's fun. WWE 2K22 is still doing that, still having fun with cage matches and all that and creating characters and stuff. Little fella still loving the character creation in that. So if you haven't gotten a WWE 2K22, definitely do so, especially if you like your character creation. And we're speaking of the Evil Dead earlier, well, when we could, so I dare mention that I hopefully don't say anything with the word evil in it because that would be my audio screwing up again. But Evil Within and Evil Within 2, I've just, I literally just before the stream just loaded up Evil Within on cloud streaming just to have a go at that again. And my God, that game is so good. Like it only runs in 30 frames per second, probably less via the cloud. So I'm currently installing it as we speak. And the Evil Within 2, because that did get a 60 frame update on the Xbox.
That's probably the audio issues we're hearing.
Are we going back to audio issues again?
Oh, yeah, I've got a few, mate. I'm struggling, but it's all good. We're getting there. Keep rolling, mate. Keep rolling.
How weird. Every time we talk about the word evil, this happens. Troy, we're cursed. Let's move on.
All right, then. Where does that bring us to? It's got to bring us to the news, doesn't it? Let me just quickly pull up my pants as we do Working beautifully. I got to do one of those. All right, here we go. Story 1 from GameSpot. Starfield and Redfall delayed to 2023. Gameplay deep dives coming soon. No one cares. Everyone cares about the pushed release date. Steve, we saw it coming down Broadway. It's now official. What are your thoughts?
Oh, we did. Like, I kind of knew this was going to happen. I kind of thought, though, the Starfield was going to hit because, I mean, Xbox without Starfield towards the end of the year is pretty light on. Redfall being, I think, a mostly multiplayer game, I wasn't, too keen on. That being said, I said the same thing about Evil Dead. But with Starfield being pushed next year, I think it's going to be really hard for Xbox to sort of gain momentum this year. That was their massive game coming out. So it also begs questions about God of War, which we still haven't seen from Sony, whether that now gets pushed potentially because they're like, well, we're not even competing now with Starfield, so we can push because, what's the point? Either that or they come out and go, we're the only game anyone's going to be playing at the end of the year. But no, it makes me sad. I am happy that we're probably not going to get a Cyberpunk because this could easily have fallen into that category where if it did come out just before Christmas, just to get it out, then we'd be looking at, a year down the track being like, oh, can they save Starfield? So there's, two sides to the coin. So I'm kind of glad they are pushing it because I would rather get a good game. Obviously, Bethesda games and all those kind of games are renowned for coming out very buggy. So it'd be nice to release a game that doesn't have any bugs in it. So, what they do what they need to do. We're always going to find other games to play. So if it can come out, a few months later and be the game where it's supposed to be, then by all means delay it.
Yes, I'm all for the delay. I'm just frustrated that I feel like when they announced the, 11/11/22 release date, I think they knew back then that it wasn't going to hit that date. So I just keep quiet on your release dates. I think it would be the honourable thing to do now for game developers is to not announce a release date longer than even 2 months, I think. 2 months, for me, is the absolute furthest out anyone should be committing to a release date. I think beyond that, you're just clearly playing the marketing game, trying to bump those pre-order numbers. And I think if you're a gamer out there watching this, stop pre-ordering. For the love of God, the sooner we stop pre-ordering, the sooner all this nonsense will go away. So take a bit of personal responsibility with the wallet, lynch it up, stop giving them your pre-order dollars, and hopefully they'll take the message and stop announcing release dates that they know they're not going to hit just to wait 3 months and then push it again. So I say stop rewarding the bad behavior and they'll stop behaving poorly. But there's the infringement notice time for you, I'm afraid.
Yep.
If only I had an infringement notice graphic I could hit. Dang it, I was so close this week. Not today, unfortunately. Not today. Now, Steve, this does bring up for me, however, a few questions. I've got some questions about these delays.
Shoot, go ahead.
The first question I've got, now, if you knew you had a service like Game Pass and you knew you had to fill it and you knew two of your big guns, do we know, I want to say September and November. Am I correct on those 2 months? Are they the... Yeah. September and November. So you knew you're going to have these two great big AAA holes. Now, do you announce that you've got the two big AAA holes and then go out and negotiate for some content filler, or do you negotiate that content filler before you announce that you've got a delay?
I reckon you do the second one. You get that stuff ready to go just in case.
Bingo, you line them up first. So I've done a little bit of internet sleuthing, and bear with me. Wait, I'm going to hit a graphic first. I'll hit that, and then I'll do this. Now, I want to bring everyone's mind back to this story from a few weeks ago. Dying Light 2's first story DLC has been delayed to September. Now, this came out, I believe, the same day, 12th of May, that Xbox announced the delay. So I don't know about you, Steve, but 1 + 1 = 2 to me. I think someone at Xbox picked up the phones to who made Dying Light? It's Dead. What are the developers' names? They're Dead something, aren't they?
Not
Techland. No, it's Techland. You're right. I think someone at Xbox picked up the phone to someone at Techland and said, hey, for a big bag of cash, what's the chance you can push off that story DLC to September? We've got this great big hole on, insert Redfield's release date here. How about that? And also, I'm nominating now Dying Light 2 as the coming to Game Pass, Dying Light 2, and it's available now, in a week or 2 weeks, whenever that press conference is. I think you're going to get Dying Light 2 into Game Pass the same day they have their conference, and then they're going to include the DLC, or at least the first story part of the DLC. It's going to be day and date to Game Pass to fill the red field. Am I saying that right? Red field? Is that the one they pushed?
Redfall?
Redfall, thank you. To fill the Redfall date. Steve, how does that first one hit you, mate?
Mate, it's good. 1 + 1 also equals a window. So I believe you're looking through the right window, though, and I think you've made some pretty good assumptions here. I think they kind of knew this was going to happen. It is something. I don't know if this is going to be enough somehow just towards the end of the year, whether we can see some more things come up with Summer Games Fest and all that this sort of June, whether they've got more in the pipelines than what we initially had. I'm hoping that's the case. Like, we're still looking at maybe Forza coming out, but again, Forza Horizon's always been the sort of more popular on-brand car racing game just for your, any person gamer as opposed to your car purists. I'm not sure what else they could potentially have. Hellblade, maybe. I don't think they've given that a release date. Whether that is earlier or later this year, I don't know.
I don't know. Hellblade to
these things.
Hellblade to me is going to get pushed to the back end of next year. That game, I think they've got a winner on their hands. I think they want to polish that to a fine sheen. I don't think it's going to be Hellblade 2. Here's my proposal. Anyone remember this story from the 11th of May? Ubisoft narrows Avatar, Skull and Bones, Mario and Rabbids 2 release window, but Ubisoft narrows Avatar's release window to the last half of their fiscal year. Note, their fiscal year ends the first quarter this year, so their last half includes November next year, which I'm thinking is Starfield's release date. My wild speculation for you is that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora has been purchased with exclusivity by Microsoft for Xbox Game Pass. I reckon we're going to see a 3-month exclusivity window on Avatar Frontiers of Pandora into Game Pass to fill the... Steve, what am I blanking on? Starfall? I keep wanting to call it the James Bond movie.
Yep,
Starfield. So I reckon Ubisoft have taken another large bag of cash from Microsoft, and I think Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is going to be a day-and-date Game Pass, and it's going to be in that Starfield release window. I'm going to go out on a limb and say 11/11/22 for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora on Xbox exclusively for 3 months, and then, January next year, it'll come to PS5. After they've patched up their wounds from the big 2 delays. Now, if you're saying, Troy, it's Ubisoft, weren't they going to come into Game Pass anyway, and isn't that going to be announced? Yeah, every chance it might be. But I'd now point you to this article, also from the 11th of May, specifically, where's old mate's quote? I'm looking for it. It was a ripper. Where is it? Here, right here. Look at this sentence right here from the Ubisoft CEO, Yves Guillemot. It has been... no, wait, I've got it. No. This doesn't read right on to me. It has provided us with the plan to build strategic partnerships with the biggest players in entertainment and tech. Steve, is it possible that Xbox are one of the biggest players in entertainment and tech?
They could be.
And is it possible that the large amount of money they're talking about that will enable them to remain independent could, in fact, be a big payday from Microsoft, maybe for a AAA exclusive?
Mate, I reckon you're onto something.
Call me crazy. Many people have, but you heard it here first. They are my assertions, the content fillers, to fill in the gap. Now, I believe we were talking about the news story, Steve.
We were. What was that news story? I can't even remember anymore.
Starfield and Redfall delayed to 2023. We've heard my wild speculations. Steve, did you have any thoughts on the delays themselves? Anything you'd like to part with us?
No, other than the fact that they were expected. I mean, the Starfield one, I was like hesitantly thinking that release date was going to hit because, I mean, with infamously back in June when Fallout, or not I say back in June, it was a few years ago now, but when Fallout 4 was announced and then came out like within a couple of months, I thought for sure that's the trend's going to continue with Starfield. They're giving us a release date, we're going to hit it. But unfortunately, that's not to be.
Not to be, indeed. But I'll tell you what is to be, That is story 2 for this evening on the news. This one is from Polygon, and it claims that the Dead Space remake is coming now in January 2023. Steve, what can you tell us?
Oh, mate, I can't wait for this. I did check out like a 30-minute video just today on the next-gen stuff for this. It is looking incredible. It's actually looking like a next-gen game. I love Dead Space 1 and Dead Space. I love the whole Dead Space franchise, to be honest. And currently in my, Evil Dead, I'm hesitant to say that name because every time I say it again, my audio stuff's up, but we'll give it a go.
You nailed it, mate. You absolutely nailed it.
With my horror genre, I'm absolutely cannot wait for this game. Like it's remaking one of my favorite horror games of all time. It's looking amazing, and the fact that it's hitting that January, sort of late January, early Feb sort of time frame, which is when all these big games seem to come out these days. I can't wait, and I think that's probably the perfect time for it. I think it's going to be. I don't know how many other games are coming out that time. I know we had heaps this year in February, but Dead Space is going to be top of my list playing that time of year. Absolutely. Where are you with Dead Space and the prequels, sequels that have happened, and how much excited are you for this remake of Dead Space 1?
I love me Dead Space 1. I think Dead Space, I would need to go back to the 360 and check achievements at this point. I'm really not sure how far I got in Dead Space 2. I do remember playing Dead Space 3 for about an hour and then being peeled off entirely by something else and then never going back. So Dead Space 1 played to completion, loved it, and absolutely cannot wait for this remake. 2 big thumbs up for me. Call me excited. Take that January release date and kick it to about March, I think, if you want some honesty in it. But
oh, yeah, I think you might be right. I mean, they've been working on this for a while, but I can just, with, COVID times and development of any game that's happened sort of in the last 2-3 years, I reckon you're going to see pushes on every single date, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think any release date now, plus about 3 months, and that'll be where they honestly expect it to come. That camera's failed again, so everyone got a bonus second crotch shot this evening. Fortunately, this one was after the sex talk with Halo, so we're all good. All right, that'll do for the Dead Space story. Story 3 this evening, alleged Silent Hill screenshot leak gets taken down by a copyright claim. Now, if I've ever seen confirmation of a leak, this is it. Steve, what are your thoughts?
Mate, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like, if something is leaking and they just leave it up, then whatever. But the fact that it got copyright claimed as quick as it did makes me believe this is absolutely happening.
Yes, indeed. I think you can lock that in and take it to the bank. Fortunately, the leaker didn't put a release date on it, so he's not wrong.
No, and I don't know. I never really got into the Silent Hills franchise back in the day. The most enjoyable Silent Hills experience I probably had was that PT game that Kojima released a few years ago, which I still believe I have saved, downloaded somewhere. Which I think you never lose it if you had downloaded it, but if you deleted it, then I think it's gone forever.
Yeah, they've definitely removed it from the store. You cannot download it again. So if you've still got a PS3, I think, or was it a PS4 with it installed?
I think it was PS4, but I mean, I doubt we're going to see Kojima tied to it, which makes me sad. But I'm not sure where they'd go with it. Whether they go that first-person route like the PT, or whether they go third-person like the old school game and do like a RE2 and RE3 remake style of.
That'd be cool.
But I don't know. Again, I'm very hesitant to talk about anything Games Evil at the moment. So let's just move on, Troy, because my audio will no more than doubt just start not working.
Oh, believe me, mate, it hasn't been working for some time. All right. Story 4 this evening on Kotaku. Gotham Knights devs drop new 13-minute gameplay video, and fortunately for all of us, they've scrapped the last gen version. Steve, what are you reading? What are you knowing?
Oh, this is surprising. The fact that they have dropped officially the old gen console versions of the game, because looking at the gameplay, I could see this thing easily running on an old gen console. So a little bit strange.
You can bet that was running. You can bet that was running on a high-end PC, and they were squeezing it for all it was worth, Steve. I wouldn't take the basic look to think that it would actually run last gen.
Yeah, no, and like our predictions were wrong, or my predictions were wrong, that initially there was rumours that it was going to be a 4-player co-op stuff. I believe it is still just a 2-player co-op thing. They did show off some gameplay footage of Red Hood and Nightwing. The Red Hood stuff I wasn't hugely a fan of. It was just it had some third-person shooting mechanic stuff going on that was a little bit, it was kind of Guardians of the Galaxy-esque in its gameplay, but not in a good way, because most of that game is sort of melee with the Gotham Knights, and I'm not sure how it works as a shooter. So that character, they kind of tried to pump his tires up a little bit and say, this is how it works with Red Hood, and then they showed his gameplay, and it felt a little bit lackluster to me. Nightwing kind of felt cool with his moveset, but I think the footage we initially saw of, I think it was Batgirl and Robin, was much more exciting in terms of his actual gameplay stuff. So still holding out this game's going to be good. I'm hoping the story's good. I'm glad that it's not a 4-player co-op experience, because I can see that turning to Avengers situation if you got, that kind of co-op trying to work into a game that's very story driven, not really working, and an Arkham game is sort of like this. I really want that really strong story and being able to play it solo. So I'm very happy it is just 2-player co-op, if that. Again, I would probably prefer this thing be a solo experience, but everyone wants co-op these days, so you got to give them that option, I suppose. But no, I was lukewarm kind of on the gameplay stuff that I saw, but still excited for the game.
Mate, I'll tell you, my excitement level went from about an 8 to then viewing this, and it dropped it down to about a 6. It really just took me off the boil for this game. I've certainly lowered my expectations for it after this presentation.
Well, I suppose having low expectations is better than having high expectations, I suppose.
That's true. The only way is up from here. Good luck, Gotham Knights.
That's right.
All right, story 5 from GameSpot is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order sequel, launching in February or March or April or May or June or July 2023, according to a report.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be called Jedi. Well, I don't know, is Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Or
Survivor.
It's just called Survivor, so is that Star Wars Jedi Survivor? Is that what we're calling it?
I believe so, yes. Star Wars Jedi : Survivor. Look at a Star Wars Jedi's : and you'll find a Survivor.
I love it.
I don't know if that's only because it came after Master Chief, though. I'm not sure.
Probably. I'm just glad. I think we will see this game in 2023, which is good. I love it. We've obviously spoken really highly about this game in the past. I loved it. I loved the first one. Baby's first Souls-like, really. If you're looking to get into the Souls-like genres and you like Star Wars, definitely a very good place to start in that kind of genre. But the fact that it's sort of going to hit around that January-March period, it could give Dead Space a run for its money, the remake. So hopefully, I think it seems like January, February, March are the new, November, Decembers of game releases at the moment, because all the big releases seem to be hitting that time period at the moment.
It's almost as though everyone's pushing their pre-orders to remain as late as possible in the current financial year. Conspiracy much? What did I say earlier? Nobody pre-order! Stop it with the pre-orders, guys. This will all clean up, I swear. Stop it with the pre-orders. All right, let's round out this week, as we always do. The news segment finishes with the website Game Informer and their list of upcoming releases. And Steve, it is a narrow week this week. We have but 3. The first one is almost unpronounceable. I'm going to say G.E.A. Generation? Sure, why not? That one's coming to Xbox Series XX and Xbox One.
I'm going to call it Umurangi Generation.
Is that what Michelangelo used to say when he jumped out of a storm grate?
Isn't that Cowabunga?
Cowabunga, that's right. It sounded so close.
Cowabunga Generation coming out of Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One May 17th. It's got Game Pass written all over it. The fact that it's only coming out on the Xbox consoles.
Although maybe PC, unless they're not releasing it for PC. Keep going, mate.
What have we got? Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song for PlayStation 5, Xbox consoles, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Not the Stadia, because the Stadia sucks.
Is this the final chapter of the Vampire the Masquerade story, or is it the sequel to Vampire the Masquerade and it's the Swan Song?
Oh, mate, I've got no idea when it comes to There's that many different vampire games at the moment. There was that free-to-play like Battle Royale game that came out recently as well on PlayStation, which I'm yet to give a go, that apparently is not that bad. So I don't know, but I'm not sure what this game is. Someone in the chat, I think Sean might have been mentioning Vampire Masquerade earlier, so I'll check the chat later on tonight and see if that was all about. But I've got no idea when it comes to that. But what else we got? May 20th.
We've got the final one is coming to us straight from Centrelink, and it's Doll Man. Steve, do you know anything about Doll Man?
Mate, Doll Man, I've dealt with plenty of those in my career, but this game is it looks like, I just had a quick look at it before. It kind of looks like a Souls-like game set in the future that's got some kind of hand-to-hand combat plus some shooting aspects. So I don't know. It could be cool. It could be terrible. We'll have to wait and see what reviews say.
We will have to, and my apologies, of course, it's Doll Men, the multiple of people of Centrelink. It's not a singular person at Centrelink, it's multiple, it's Doll Men. And that's coming to the PlayStation 5,
yep.
Xbox Series X and X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And that, of course, will do it for this week's news/upcoming releases. That can only mean one thing, Steve. I'm looking for my button.
It's the standoff.
I have a button here. Oh, look, here it is. Nope, that's not it. Gosh, so close. Where is it? It kind of is. It kind of is.
Chief said. So
Who will fight?
Who will fight, Steve? Tell me things, mate. Tell me things. Who's fighting this week?
So today we've got the game you were most hyped for before release that exceeded your expectations. And
now, for those... Wait, Steve, if I can. For those who couldn't hear Steve due to bad audio, I'll tell you, it's the game that we were most excited for before release, and then it released, and it exceeded our wildest dreams. Steve, does that fairly sum it up?
Well, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but it does sum it up, yes.
Beautiful. All right, Steve, the first one of the shoot tonight is Goldeneye 007.
Goldeneye 007, mate. I remember writing my mum a please give me this game before my birthday note where you write it literally over 100 times just so I could get this game before my birthday. And I would go into the store and look for the game cartridge itself, and just got so excited. And when it finally dropped and I finally got it, yes, I did get it before my birthday thanks to my handwritten notes, and it definitely exceeded expectation. I did not expect to have the amount of hours put in this game, not only the single player campaign, but the multiplayer stuff with friends coming around and doing all-nighters. Troy, this was probably the making of me as a gamer. I don't know about you.
I love it. The making of you as a gamer. I certainly spent many an hour in the GoldenEye tunnels, 4-player, split-screen, multiplayer, yelling and screaming to my young heart's content. It was a thing of glory. But, Steve, I guess the modern-day equivalent would unfortunately be Fortnite?
It probably would be with kids these days, I reckon. I mean, lucky for them, they don't have a control that made you use, for up, left, right, down yellow arrows to decide when you were going, which I have no idea how we used that Nintendo 64 controller back in the day, to be honest.
I don't. And now that I'm thinking about it, Steve, Fortnite really should introduce a mode that gives you the quad player split so you can do the cheating by looking at the other splits.
Oh, the old screen cheat. Yeah. The amount of arguments that happened from that day.
How good would that be in Fortnite? Add it in, Epic. That one's for free. You can have that one. All right, game 2 tonight. Things that we thought were going to be good and it turned out they were way better. Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, also on the Nintendo 64. Steve, your fondest memories?
Oh, one of my fondest memories. I remember unwrapping this game on Christmas, and I think I've spoken about a story before recently where I actually went and played this game during Christmas. I think it might have even been last year I played this game on Christmas on my TV just to have that sense of the smell of the Christmas tree and playing Ocarina of Time for the first time, because that's my memory of this game. But my also memory of this game was walking down to Kmart in Burwood just to go play this game on the TV they had there before it came out. Pre-ordering it and just making sure I got that gold cartridge as well. But
yes,
remember the lead up to this game. I just remember reading everything about it. It was the first time I was going to feel like I was in a field and riding a horse and in a forest. And obviously, we take that for granted now. Playing games like Horizon, where you're literally walking through a forest.
Yes.
Back in the day when it was Zelda, you're like, this is the best it's ever going to get, and it was just incredible when you first come out in that field and the expansions and the volcano and just Troy, what a game!
How good will it be in 5, 10, 15 years, Steve, when they've brought in smell-o-vision or smell-o-VR vision, whatever we're playing games on, when you'll be able to walk into a forest and smell a forest? How good will that be, mate?
Oh, mate, 4D, I'm all for it.
Unless, of course, you're watching Halo. You probably don't want to smell that. All right, the next game we've got tonight is Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Now, it blew the socks off me, Steve. How did you take it?
Mate, it's borderline one of my favourite, if not my favourite game of all time when it comes to just everything about it exceeding expectations. I liked Uncharted 1. And There's a question coming up later from Bully that it's probably going to be one of my answers as well. But I played Uncharted 1 and liked it, and then sort of came back to it and sort of eventually loved it. And then my sort of hype and stuff for Uncharted 2 before it came out was so fever pitch, it was ridiculous. I remember being at EB Games at the time, and there was a push for pre-orders per store, and we actually won the amount of pre-orders gained per store for the whole, I think it was even the country, if not just Victoria, but we ended up winning these RC helicopter things for it just because we had the most pre-orders. And that was mainly based off my hype for the game and how much I was just telling everyone this is going to be the best game ever. And
I'll proudly tell you, Steve, that I was one of your pre-orders. I pre-ordered this game from you, I'll have you know.
Yes! It just exceeded everything in terms of Uncharted 1 was a good game, but this was an incredible game and still holds up today. And the fact that it's so long ago since this game came out, and the fact that it's still as good as it is, granted it's had a bit of a remaster, touch up here, touch up there, but what a game to be a sequel to one of the, I wouldn't say the best games being Uncharted 1, but Uncharted 2, it just hit new levels, Troy.
It did, Steve, and honestly, you know it as well as I do, mate, but that opening level in the snow hanging off the train, what a way to open it. It instantly, as soon as you were in that level, you're like, this is better than Uncharted 1, which I loved. Like, that was, it instantly, you walked into the moment of going, this is better than I was expecting. Speaking of better than we were expecting with Uncharted 4, anybody?
Oh, again, I had to put this in there because it went through such development turmoil. Like, obviously, you had
yes, Amy Hennig on it for a couple of years, and then she got pulled.
Oh, and then you had the Last of Us boys working on it. So you're like, what is going on with Uncharted 4? Like, they obviously changed the story up. They changed some of the motivations of the characters and all that, and you just didn't know where this game was going to go. And you kind of hoped it was going to be good because you kind of trusted Naughty Dog at this point after Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 and The Last of Us 1.
Yeah, definitely.
You kind of knew it was going to be good, but you kind of just didn't expect it to be as good as it kind of ended up being. And you play that game, for a single player game, it just keeps going and going and going. And some people might say it went too long.
No
case. I just
send Master Chief after those people.
Just not naked. It just builds and builds and builds. And you don't actually shoot anyone in that game for a fair portion of the start of that game. And it doesn't matter at all. By the end of it, you're murdering tons of people like Nathan Drake's used to doing. But the game itself, when it reaches that crescendo of the ending, but then even has the post-ending ending, it is the perfect ending to Uncharted.
The post-ending ending was the perfect ending. All right. Game number 5, Steve, I apologise, mate. I'm really struggling with your audio this evening, mate. I'm doing my best. All right, game number 5 is God of War on the PlayStation 4. I'll take the lead on this one if you don't mind, Steve. I loved the original God of War format. I loved the button-mashing nature of it. Even though I'm not the most technical gamer, I still felt like there was a learning curve, and I felt my gameplay improve over the first, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, was there 4 games before it? I know there was the core 1, 2, 3, but then there was at least one spin-off game, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, there was.
I absolutely loved all those games. And then, before this one came out, they worded us up. We've changed it all. There's now a narrative. He's got a son. And I was pulling my hair out at this point. I went, oh, no, what's going on? I was nervous. I was very nervous going into this one. But then you pick up and play, and the first time that Leviathan axe comes back to you, Sold! They had a sale right there and there. I absolutely loved it. Steve, what was your take on it, mate?
Oh, mate, that was it. And then it's probably not spoilers at this point, but when you get your initial or your original weapons back, the Blades of Chaos, through that story beat, it is just insane. You're like, I thought, no, the Leviathan actually is our new weapon for this game, and they bring in a whole new battle mechanic with your old Blades of Chaos. It was just insane. And the story, the one-shot way it's filmed throughout the whole thing is just new for video games as well. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was.
Yeah.
The storytelling in God of War has never been its high point, and it was definitely the high point of this game. And just by the end of that game, you're like, yep, give me number 2. I need it.
100%, man. Couldn't agree more. I cannot wait for the next game to come out, June, July next year? Then we have, for number 6 in the standoff this week, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, I had played number 1 and number 2 on PC prior to this. I had my sights set, I think, pretty squarely on what they'd done in the past, what they were building on. I thought I knew what I was going into. I was thinking a slightly better version of Skyrim, and boy, was I wrong. This game blew my socks off. Even in the opening area, the White Orchard, which I stayed in there way too long. I think you're meant to be in there for about an hour. I think I spent 6 in there. Yep. But what a game. And even though I was 6 areas in the first area, that was by choice. I was loving it so much. I wasn't ready to move on yet. Now, that speaks volumes about a game. When you're not ready to move on from one biome to get out of the tutorial area, you know you're on a winner. The Witcher 3, from the starting gate, from the jump, you knew you're on a winner. Oh, well, I thought so anyway. Steve, what was your take on it?
Mate, that was my take, and I'd seen a lot of pre-press and stuff for this game saying how good it was going to be, but yeah, I had just finished number 2 as well. I don't think I ever played number 1, but loved number 2. But yeah, nothing prepared me for how good number 3 was going to be. Just the open nature of it, the way side quests weaved into main quests.
Oh, those side quests!
Oh, just all the side quests. And then you've got, even speaking about the main game itself, but the expansions are like longer and better than a lot of games out there as it is. So, like, this game just continues to deliver at a 10 out of 10, like, pretty much the whole way through. I can't really fault anything when it comes to The Witcher 3.
Oh, the only thing I would fault, and it's not even a fault, this is just me being way too squirmish, but if you remember right at the end of is it the Bloody Barons? What's he about, the 15-hour mark in? I think you come across the Bloody Baron. I think I wrapped up his story about 26 hours in. It's a bit of a long one, and if you're like me, it's even longer. But right at the end, they have a pretty gnarly cutscene, and honestly, I had to turn it off for a few minutes after that cutscene. It did not sit well with me. Steve, I'm referring to the state of the young child and how you see I don't know, I guess fetus is the correct term.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
That was the low mark for that game. But fantastic game, can't recommend it enough. If you haven't played The Witcher 3, definitely get on it. And to be honest, right now, Steve, this is leading the charge for my standoff nomination this evening. But it doesn't stop there. Number 7 this evening is The Last of Us 2. Now, it didn't tickle my whatevers, but Steve, how'd it go with you?
Well, it went very well for me. I was one of those ones that initially jarred a little bit by some of the story stuff. I don't really want to spoil it, even though it's probably not a spoiler at this point, but I really enjoyed the story of this, and I didn't expect the gameplay to be such an evolution from the first that it actually was, in terms of it becoming one of the best stealth action gameplay mechanics I reckon I've ever played.
Great call, Steve. You're right. You're right. Number 1 top best stealth gameplay. They absolutely nailed it. It was a true evolution, what they did from 1 to 2. You're right, mate. They absolutely nailed it. Please continue.
It was, which gets me excited for the remake of number 1. So if they can get the story of that number 1 potentially just retold with the gameplay mechanics number 2, that's looking like an absolutely amazing game. But
I hadn't even considered bringing that backwards, Steve, but I absolutely love that idea. You're right, man. If they can bring the stealth mechanics from 2 and put them back in 1, you're right, mate. New high watermark. Please continue.
Oh, absolutely. And I really love the way they told that story. Like, yes, you played half the game as Ellie, you played half the game as another character. I won't mention it because it makes people angry. But I really enjoyed the juxtaposition between those two characters and the way they play. They played slightly differently. I think by the end of the campaign, you do get like an emotional sort of a connection to both of those characters, and you kind of don't see it one way or the other. And I think they told that story really well, and it gets me really excited for where they could potentially go with Last of Us 3. I'm not sure where they're going to go with it, but I wasn't one of those ones that was very hurt about the fact that I didn't get to play, the game as Joel at all, because I mean I did get that first game. I am going to get, and you did see moments of Joel throughout that story, and the way they weaved it through I thought was really well done, and the fact that we are going to get a remake of number one.
Yes, and I love their callback to the what was the DLC from number one that they reference in number two. They absolutely nailed it when they wove it in. It was, because the DLC for number one takes place with Joel when he's incapacitated, and I believe the end of the second act in number one, that they do the reference back to the DLC in number two, and that absolutely floored me. That was gold.
Oh, just such good storytelling. I think I knew it was going to be a good game, but I think it actually got to me more on a story level than I thought it would. And again, when they did that change of the character, as jarring as it was initially, I was like, oh God, why? The fact that game managed to turn me around on that character and had me on her side by the end of the game, I think was just masterful storytelling.
I agree completely, mate. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I need to revisit The Last of Us Part 2. I need to play it again now that we're separated enough from all the controversy, because I couldn't put all the controversy down to give the story a fair shake on its own. I reckon enough time's passed now. I'll have to come back to it this year. And now we come up to number 7, I believe. My contribution to the list is Half-Life Alyx. Now, I got to say, there was a lot of talk about how good Half-Life Alyx was during production. Everyone was talking up, this is going to be the game that proves VR, and I got to say they over-delivered on that fact. I love VR on a bad day, and this is VR on its best day. I can't speak highly of it enough. And Steve, I know you came in and we did a tourist of Half-Life Alyx. Did you have any additional thoughts, mate?
Oh, mate, I remember this as well. I remember them saying this is, VR at its best. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've played a bit of VR. I can't really see it being, the be-all and end-all of VR. But, yeah, having come around to your place and play this thing the way it's meant to be played in all its glory, I have not had a VR experience like that ever. Again.
No.
And yes, and since I think we will see this game on PSVR 2 when it launches. I believe it'll be a launch title if we do see it as early as the end of this year, which I'm starting to
please.
Maybe that may not happen, but I think with the scarcity of other stuff coming out at the end of this year, we might see that. But this game is just absolutely incredible. I want to sit down with this game and play it from top to tail without just doing it as a tourist experience, because it was that good.
And I've just worked it out, Steve. I've got it. A ray of light hit me, mate. Sony will announce during their non-E3 presentation, but you know what I'm saying, their upcoming State of Play. What's the chance Half-Life Alyx is a launch title for the PSVR 2 and that date is maybe 11/11/22?
Ooh, that'd be nice.
If I were in Sony's marketing department, I would certainly be sticking a knife in that open wound and twisting it on Microsoft. I would get a big gun and I'd launch it on that day. And I wouldn't even say anything about it. I'd just use the date. Oh, it'd be brilliant.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that sound. All right, and then a late entry, if I do say so, for this evening is, of course, Elden Ring. Elden Ring. Who saw Elden Ring coming? Not me. Now that was a true gem, a true moment of, oh my God, I'm playing the game of the year and I'm only an hour in. This game certainly wears that crown. I'm a big fan of it. I can't speak highly enough of it. Steve, what were your impressions of Elden Ring pre and post launch?
Yeah, no, pretty good. I expected it to be good, knowing FromSoft. I didn't expect them to nail the open world nature of the genre as well as they did. And playing it, it was just they've really nailed it and exceeded expectations in every way, because I expected it to be good. I just didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And the fact that it's the end of this list, and I almost forgot about it, is just an absolute sin, because this game definitely over-delivered in pretty much every single way. The only way I could say it didn't over-deliver is the fact that, it's FromSoft. They've pretty much delivered on everything they've ever done. So,
Yeah, the one knock that I'll put against this game for being on this specific list, obviously, Elden Ring will forever hold a special place in my heart. And I'll be fighting hard for it for Game of the Year this year. However, in the context of this list, this was FromSoft doing FromSoft maybe to 11. Awesome, fantastic, hats off to them, great. However, I would argue that The Witcher 3 outshone them with respect to the specific context of this list being far better than I was expecting of previous titles. See, the other FromSoft titles, Dark Souls, Demon's Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, all fantastic games. Elden Ring, also fantastic games. For The Witcher 3, though, I would argue Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 were good games, and I was hopeful that The Witcher 3 would be great, but it was fantastic or way beyond. It was like up to 16 maybe on the scale. I think insofar as exceeding expectations, I don't see anyone beating The Witcher 3. Steve, what's your take?
As much as I want to fight for Uncharted 2, I'm going to have to give it to Witcher 3.
Yes! Witcher 3, a winner is you on this week's standoff. Who will fight? They fought. And The Witcher 3 won. Steve, that can only mean one thing. We must be up to audience interrogation and deliberation. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong, Troy. Let me have a look through here. I've had a few in here tonight, if you can hear me talking. We have had Sean Games in there, Bully in there. Eric Tate has been in the chat as well. I believe that's everyone in there. Let's see what they've been saying. We have Sean Games saying he's been watching Foxtel streaming TV shows. Eric Tate was can't wait to play Vampire Masquerade Swan Song this week. So
Eric Tate, high praise. Love it.
Yeah, Bully has not played Rocket League since it released.
Bully, get back in there.
Skill level of the others. Mate, and I think he's talking about you. He said the skill level of some others was unbelievable.
Oh, man, I've got it on file footage somewhere, but geez, did I nail an aerial goal this week off the sidewall. It was a thing of beauty.
We've got Bully. Apex is good, but he cannot stomach playing a game like this on mobile. Fair enough.
Fair call.
Where are we? Don't forget. Oh, God, then we've got some Master Chief comments. Sean Games, Master Chief is ruined for me now. And can someone please erase the Halo sex scene from his brain?
I haven't even seen it, but I'd like someone to remove the notion of it from my brain.
Bully, he's been watching the show, but he still thinks the best reveal time frame was Fallout 4 at E3 June and released November. I agree.
Yes, 100%. They nailed that one, Bully. Good call, mate.
And the only answer for Bully about games exceeding expectations was Witcher 3, so he's right on the mark there.
Woo! Great stuff. Sorry, Steve, fighting with the camera.
That's right. And Bully also says, the truth comes out. Troy is a pre-order man when it comes to pre-ordering.
Pre-order? If I said I pre-ordered, I misspoke. Of course I didn't pre-order. Although, no, wait. For Uncharted 2, you're right. I did pre-order. Okay, well, let me elaborate slightly on my pre-order comments. I don't pre-order more than 2 days out. 2 days before a title releases, I'll go in and pre-order it. Back in the day especially, because, Steve, you always had me worried that you weren't going to have the stock for me if I didn't pre-order. So 2 days before, I'd get in there and get my pre-order. But I certainly don't pre-order weeks/months in advance. That's lunacy for crazy people.
Same. Now, we do have 2 questions from Bully for tonight, Troy. Are you ready?
Oh, perfect. I'm ready. Go, shoot. Which reminds me, I have one from Discord I need to find. Go.
All right, we have what game did you shelve after a short playtime, only return later and absolutely love? That is number 1, Troy. I can either give you a time to think and give you question number 2, or you can
wait. No.
Now.
I'll answer that. I can answer confidently. Rocket League certainly fell into that category. The first 2 or 3 times I picked up Rocket League, I played it for 1 round, 5 minutes, whatever. Yeah, 1 round, 5 minutes. And I was like, nah, I don't get it. And honestly, it was 2 or 3 times. It wasn't until the 4th time that I played it and something just snapped in my head and I went, wait a minute, I get it now. And then I was off to the races. So that's the one that jumps to mind. I'll keep thinking to see if another one comes in. Sorry, Steve, second question. Oh, unless you had an answer, Steve. What was your answer for that question?
Destruction All-Stars, mate. That game initially didn't get to me, but I've since... No, I'm joking. That game is rubbish. The game that I played... the game that I'll bring up is one I was talking about earlier, Uncharted 1. Like, I remember playing that game, and it was notoriously known for really bad screen tear and performance back when it first came out. And I just put it away due to the fact that it just ran so poorly. I was a bit of a graphics whore back in the day and even today, but the fact that it didn't run really well, I put it away. And then I can't remember what even brought me back to it, but eventually I came back to it and just absolutely fell in love with obviously that. And
I'll throw the money in. I reckon I know what it was, Steve. I reckon it was when they patched in trophy support, which was about 8 months after launch, I think.
Potentially, but yeah, obviously it brought me back into that game, and it gave me that love for that franchise. That obviously made me drive for Uncharted 2, and then obviously, you know, the history speaks for itself. But Uncharted is probably my answer for that one. Question 2 is, what game is universally regarded as rubbish, but you secretly love it?
Does anyone call Rocket League rubbish? Oh, how about Gambit mode in Destiny 2? Apparently everyone thinks that's rubbish, and I still love it and still maintain people are just playing it wrong. Play it like poker, people. How about you, Steve?
Nice. I've got a few on my list. I really enjoyed it. It was a terrible game. I really enjoyed the 50 Cent Blood and Sand game.
That game was quality. That game was always good.
Yeah, there was another one called Binary Domain, which was a third-person game. You like third-person action hero versus like robots and stuff. It had a really cool story and futuristic premise going on. You shot robots in the head, really satisfying.
Sorry, Steve, I'm going to have to interrupt you and suggest you said the word evil at some point because your audio's totally fallen over.
Oh no, I didn't say evil. I said Binary Domain, but I'm hopefully the audio has come back now. I'm just going to keep going regardless.
Roll, man, roll.
The Earth Defense Force series, I absolutely enjoy, even though they're terrible but fun.
Oh, you know one we both love, Steve, and I've never heard any love outside of Geek Aloud for it, is Strange Brigade. I never hear anyone singing his praises, but that game's fantastic.
Good call. That's a great one. Yeah, I never hear any love for that, but that's a great game.
Oh, it is. Oh, I love the announcer in it. My God. Now, before I start doing that announcer's voice for the rest of the show, Steve, I've got a question from you from Discord. Are you ready?
Yep, go for it.
What will be the next big game delay?
The ones that we haven't already heard about. Jesus, what have we got?
For my money, it's got to be the official announcement of God of War 2 being pushed to next year. My money's on that being the next big official announcement.
Nah, it's got to be, doesn't it? That's about the only thing I can think of coming out that everyone's looking forward to that could be pushed. It has to be God of War, absolutely.
It does indeed. And Steve, I'm going to call it into the show right now, mate, because your audio's all but departed already.
I'm cooked.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Bully in the chat, Sean Games in the chat. Steve, help me out. Who else was in there? I don't have it up in front of me. Thank you to everybody who comes along, watches the show live, and, of course, participate in the chat. You are the lifeblood of this show. Thank you very much. It gives us the fuel to keep coming back week after week and throwing our wild speculation onto the fireplace, which includes, of course, this week, you heard it here first, Dying Light 2 and Avatar to replace the Xbox Showcase, AAA Game Pass day and date announcement exclusives. You heard it here first. That's definitely going to happen. Write it on a little bit of paper and come back and thank me later for it. Steve, thank you for joining us this week, sir, and I apologise that the audio wasn't quite there and you mightn't be very happy with the end product, I fear.
Mate, that's okay, mate. Garbage truck on fire is how we work, and sometimes that garbage truck is on more fire than other times. So we make the best we can do.
The fire was licking the roof this evening. Thank you very much for joining us for this week's fashion show. Why not? Of course it was. We won't run through that fashion again, but I hope you like the way we look this evening. Of course, thank you to everyone in the chat. Keep your eyes on the channel. Live Let's Plays Wednesdays, Fridays, right here. YouTube.com/GeekAloud. Like it, subscribe it. You'll never miss.
That's something.
I love everything about it. Ooh.
Fire splash!
Old Uncle Donkey.
Donkey.